Hello and welcome to the Codec Moments Podcast. I'm Andy Brown, and joining me today is Dr. Ali Cornholt.
It hasn't been that long since you last talked to us.
Dr. Matthew
We do
Wolf.
one F1 episode that we don't include him on when he's bought the game. And
He's not even drinking tonight.
and he won't even do the intros properly.
It's global pandemic. I don't care about the intros anymore. I never really cared about the intros, but specifically now. So with him and him.
Hello.
Hello.
Lovely. So we've done a little bit recently about next generation. What's coming? PS5.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think it's time. There was a very, very legendary, essentially perfect event that happened last week.
Yes, it was the week before we recorded this. 23rd of July?
23rd, yeah.
Yes, the Xbox Showcase.
Woo!
Bringing the finest of everything in early development for the Xbox Series X.
And
Very
Xbox
much.
One. And PC.
Yeah.
And 360.
And Windows Phone.
And your old Windows Phone.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So, I mean, I'll be honest. When we spoke about the PS5 stuff, I'm in the same position in that I didn't watch the Xbox Showcase live.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have it kind of live broadcast to me through the medium of text by YouTube. I didn't get the same sense of enthusiasm for the Xbox Showcase as I did for the PS5 one. And I know that, number one is because Matt honestly believes that if there was an Xbox in his house, he would probably have to move. But
Yeah,
secondly,
ain't touching it. Come on.
when he touches an Xbox, it burns. But to be honest, that's probably just thermal decoupling. However, Alistair, you've always been kind of more in camp Xbox, even though you do play on both consoles. That's not even a euphemism.
No.
But I'd feel that you weren't as enthusiastic about this as perhaps I felt you would be.
Well, it's a bit different because obviously you can't watch it live, Andy.
No.
And Matt's invested but wasn't. And he also did say that he was otherwise previously engaged.
Yeah.
I had to do the daycare pickup, so I kind of saw the first 10 minutes, and we messaged backwards and forwards.
Yeah, because it was on early
I watched
afternoon,
the
wasn't
last
it? Yeah.
15 minutes as well. And from a timing point of view, in fairness, I did think about this. I thought it's an odd time to get your core audience to watch. Then I forgot, obviously, it's aimed at the US, in fairness, a lot more than it is the UK. They're not as interested in Europe. But then even then, it's lunchtime in the US.
It was like 9 a.m. Pacific time, wasn't it? Or something ludicrous.
It was
Yeah,
like,
something like-
12, it was
it's
like
5
lunchtime
o'clock
on one
GMT.
coast, and it's a bit of an odd one if you want people to watch live.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, I did see some of it live.
But I suppose if you've got markets in Europe and the US, it kind of makes sense. You've got to shift it one way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. I mean,
So I guess I was already aware that unless something major came up, the to and fro in might not have been there because neither of you were watching it live. So I might have just gone, oh, this has just been released, and you go, oh, okay, I'll have a look at it in a bit. But also, I'm part of a couple of Xbox groups because it's the ecosystem I prefer at the minute, and I was on a chat with them anyway. We were tearing at a new one live.
All right, fine. with your new friends.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Xbox friends. The enthusiasm was there. I was looking forward to it. If anything, I was a little bit apprehensive because I was impressed with the PlayStation offering and I was expecting something of a similar level from Xbox.
and I would agree. I enjoyed the PlayStation 1. We've talked about that at length, and I thought Xbox would bring an equivalent at least.
Yeah, bearing in mind the amount of studios, they bought a lot of studios, 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more, that could have had games in development already, And it's like, well, we now own that, so that's going to Series X.
And especially after the lackluster third-party stuff they put out before the PS5, I think everybody felt there was it was a call and response that they needed to really step up to match or better what PlayStation offered.
Yeah, and it was dog.
Well, that's the show.
Podcast over.
No, it was.
Not even partisan, fanboyism. It was disappointing.
I'll be honest. Right now, if both went up for pre-order now, I would pre-order them both as long as no money's taken, possibly apart from a deposit. Purely because I don't want to hedge my bets on the Xbox for two reasons.
Right.
One, this showcase, which will tear it a new one in a minute, didn't fill me full of confidence, nor did it make me want to buy a Series X. I can still play majority of these, or anything that's released in the next 12 months on my current Xbox and my PC, which, for anybody listening and isn't in our Discord, I've just upgraded quite heavily, so I've now got an RTX card.
Yeah. You got, what is it, a
2070 Super.
2070 Super, yeah, nice.
Yeah. So it will run, the RTX ray tracing and all that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got Game Pass, so I don't need to buy any of them. So I could just keep my Ultimate. So I've got it on PC and I'll get the games. But what they showed us, it's even questionable whether Halo's a release title. They can't even one breath saying yes, one breath saying no.
It's kind of like getting to that, because I thought it absolutely was a release title, and it's tentpole, as a console system seller, has to be. And it came away really vague, forgetting gameplay, graphics, etc. It just wasn't clear. Is it out at release or isn't it? Are you going to be able to get your Series X with a copy of Halo or not? And I don't know if there's actually been a clarification since.
No, I think they've tried to get a clarification, and I think at the minute, a lot of people have been saying, well, it was running on a PC, which was the equivalent spec of what the Series X is.
A lot of those things usually do, don't they? Yeah.
But apparently that demo was also a year old.
Yeah, I was going to say they came out and said it was like a year old, and also various other things. I mean, it didn't look polished, did it? And I'm not even...
No.
I'll tell you what, it was smooth. It was running at 60 frames a second as far as I could tell, just from the, in fairness, I was watching it via a Twitter feed, I think. But it was smooth and it moved okay, but it just looked flat.
Current gen.
Yeah, it did. That's
current
exactly
gen,
what it
but
was.
Current gen. The good thing was for Halo is that it did look like it was going back to how it originally was in terms of the gameplay. They've added some extra elements, etc. All for that, because the latest one I struggled with. I don't like these Ghost Recon games where it forces you to use AI teammates. It works well in Gears of War because they've put a lot of time and effort into that. And to be fair, you don't need them too much unless you get downed. But sometimes you have to really work on the AI for that to work, and they're going away from that again. And it looks really good in terms of gameplay, but it didn't look as good as Ratchet and Clank. Yeah. I mean, why put something out that's already a year old? Which makes me think, what is going to be the Xbox's launch the launching game at the minute? It's like, we're doing a console, and we've got Halo coming out, but you can still play it on your current Xbox. There's nothing at the minute that's saying, like PS5, you've got Ratchet and Clank, looks amazing, not too sure when it's out. You've got the Spider-Man game, and there was a few other, I can't remember off the top of my head the different games that they showed, and we were all like,
GT7, things like that. I mean, we'll clarify. I think Spider-Man's going to be PS4 as well. I don't think that's just a PS5 release.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean, and it was something I thought we'd probably get to a bit later, but it feels now. Yeah, there isn't anything there that shouted, this is next gen. It was all very much, this is what you can have now. This is Game Pass. It was a big Game Pass advert, and a great one for Game Pass. I will never argue that, as we've said multiple times. Game Pass is a great offer. But it wasn't anything that, surely somebody must have put a marketing hat on, looked at it and gone, hang on, we've not actually sold our new console.
If ever you're going to take like a recent vertical slice of something, showing off the ray tracing and making it look the best it can look, that was the moment.
Yeah, they needed to do that, even if they whacked up the PC graphics to well beyond what the Series X could do, which probably isn't that far beyond, in fairness.
No.
And just really wowed everybody in the first few minutes. I think it'd probably put a different slant on it all, and you'd have had people thinking, "Damn, that looks amazing." I've questions on the logic of making every single game playable on every platform, simply because at some point you are going to get mechanisms, mechanics, and AI that cannot function on the lower spec hardware. So you're going to restrict yourself. But actually, that's not going to come for 18 months, 2 years. So really, why not just wow everybody with it and say, this is why you should buy this over everything else?
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have been too bad during that Halo thing if they did a bit of a comedy sketch off it and went, whoa, hang on. This is old stuff.
We've accidentally booted up the Xbox One version. Hold on, let's just...
Yeah. And then it just like swipes across and it's like, actually, this is what, something like that.
Maybe they just forgot to do the second half of the presentation.
I mean, there's other stuff which we'll come to at the end, which, other rumours and different things. But yeah, so Halo, it didn't start off great. A bit like the PlayStation one didn't start off great. But that was
GTA 5.
But that was just, look, GTA 5's coming in, we're giving it a 4K enhance and it's, okay. But that's just because Sony's got a partnership with them. Not the best way to start a show, but hey-ho. Yeah. Whereas this is like, this is the game you need to buy for our console, but we're not going to tell you if it's actually coming out for the console and it's a year-old demo. Not showing off ray tracing.
It in, aren't we? Yeah.
But there was a Warthog,
or is it a Walrus?
Speaking of vehicles that are available in Forza.
Oh, don't. You want me to go there now? You have to get that bleep machine going.
I'll just stick it on for 5 minutes.
It's the point at which we're going to just go and make a cup of tea.
I think that's why you didn't hear me anything. I was so angry when that came on. Because normally, that is your console selling game. It's normally launches with pretty much every console. And, you get the car coming up off the stage. Okay, they're not on a stage, but you get the car coming up and this is this. And then they'll get that cheesy guy racing on the stage. It could be a current series driver, whatever he's in, or some esports driver or whatever. But we just got some really looked really good video of people doing the corkscrew, which, just in case you didn't know, that was at Laguna Seca, that same corkscrew over and over again with a few different cars in it. From a studio that took 4 years out. So they've not supported Forza 7 for the last year, maybe 2. And Forza's got a very big community behind it, a bit like Gran Turismo. And they've not supported that community because they said, right, we're going to take a bit of time out and then we're going to develop a new engine and get something ready for the Series X. And we get that. And it's still in early development. You're taking even we had more from Gran Turismo than that.
I suppose if the engine's ready now, though, it's not like they've not done anything for... I don't know why I'm trying to defend them. This is defending the indefensible.
No. Yeah. I mean, like I say, what annoyed me is that Gran Turismo have done more than Forza, and we all know what Gran Turismo's reputation's like.
Yeah. The very definition of unhurried.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, nobody from Polyphony Digital is in at the moment. Please come back in 2022.
Yeah. But it just baffles me that they've not supported a game at all because they wanted to, and they skipped a generation because we should have had Forza 8 by now. In the current cycle, it's kind of like every other year. So they took that time out and let Forza 7 and Forza Horizon 4 run its course, and then that's all you get.
I'm not a fan with the politics or the dynamics of it all. So is Horizon, is that a different dev team?
Yeah, that's Playground Games.
Okay.
Who, everyone guessed, we're doing Fable. I even went to a think group for it, although they didn't say Fable. And again, we just got a trailer for that, but I suppose they are building a fairly big game. But then the whole thing was just either trailers, pixel games, or stuff that you're not going to be able to play for a while. I hate those games. I won't say I hate them, but I'm not a fan. If I want to go and play something that looks crap, I'll get PS1 out or something. You know, if you want that nostalgia, I'm past all pixely games. They do me in. It's not how you sell a console, in my opinion.
In fairness, it wasn't a Series X showcase. It was an Xbox showcase. But actually, you're there for the Series X stuff. You want to see what it can do. And apart from maybe the medium, you didn't see anything. Because the medium, I think that was on when I came back and managed to get it turned back on again. And at least that looked next gen. It looked impressive and it looked novel in terms of the gameplay and what it was going to do. Everything else was target renders and well, not even FMV, but whatever they want to call it now, but basically pre-rendered video. It was not actual gameplay, whereas the medium was, and it did look really nice. It looked like it would use a lot of the hardware capability that the next gen brings you with the dual rendered worlds and the puzzle solving and things. It looked really good.
Yeah.
And that made me think, actually, that's what you want, but you wanted 12 of those.
Yeah.
Not
Tetris Effect Connect. Who gives a about Tetris? I tell you, I went mental at that time. I mean, what am I? In the 80s, I'm a original Game Boy playing Tetris.
You want the same game that's been out for the last 2 years, just with local multiplayer.
It kind of. Well, I've not seen exactly what it is.
Is it online multiplayer they've added?
It's like Tetris 99.
It struck me as being like Tetris 99 and Skype.
Yeah.
Like the version of Tetris 99 you can play in Teams.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like
it's what we need in lockdown.
We really are getting
over.
everything out of this UWP, aren't we? Yeah.
And then, like you say, everything else that they showed us, we've either seen before. So, like Hellblade 2, and they didn't really show it. It was just talked about, I think.
I missed that bit.
Crossfire X, which is technically Crossfire Cross.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, there was a bit of a disclaimer right at the bottom of the screen, and it wasn't up for very long. And I've not been able to find what it actually said, but I don't know if it kind of hinted that the multiplayer will be on Game Pass, but the single player won't.
Oh, okay.
For that. But I haven't been able to find a screen capture or anything to go and look at it, and I haven't wanted to enjoy the presentation again.
Yeah.
To really care about seeing what it said. But there was some kind of disclaimer that kind of hinted that the single player would be treated differently from the multiplayer.
Then you had another Warhammer game for a change, which looked good, but again, it was just another video.
Yeah.
And that's not out of 21.
Follow-up to Vermintide, isn't it? Which was the last Warhammer
yeah, but this is
game, I think.
40k rather than standard Warhammer. Yeah. Phantasy Star Online, who cares?
Stalker 2 quite a few people that did care about that one, but
I played it. So
I had no clue.
Stalker 2, I was actually quite excited for, but we didn't really get any information about it because I remember playing the original on my PC early 2000s. I want to say when the original Stalker came out.
Late 90s.
Is it late 90s? I didn't know if it went back that far.
Because wasn't it before Metal Gear Solid?
I don't know. I was thinking while watching that it looked really nice, but actually, is it unfortunately now in a period where it looks like a Metro clone?
Well, I did think it was something to do with Metro. So it's 2007.
I was thinking of the anime, wasn't I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, you were.
Yeah. Sorry. I'll shut up now.
So yeah, it did come across almost as a Metro game, and I did think that. But obviously, this is a bit more horror and mutants and things. Yeah. I suppose you kind of got that.
Is it a bit more survival based, maybe as well?
I think so. Do you know what? It's that long ago. It's 13 years old, the game. But yeah, that like kind of. Oh yeah, I look forward to that.
State
of Decay 3?
They've only just had State of Decay 2. Like,
is that working yet?
Yeah. They've fixed those bugs and done a few things. Oh, don't forget though, if you're a Game Pass member, you can get Destiny 2 and all the expansions.
Yeah. I mean, that was quite funny as well.
I hate to say it, but I got that on Stadia when that launched.
Yeah. I mean, the base game's free to play anyway.
They chucked Destiny 2 on Plus was it end of last year or?
Yeah, and then before it went free to play.
It's free to play.
You didn't get the
anyway,
expansion.
You didn't get the expansions.
Yeah. But you don't think you get all the expansions on the Game Pass? Great.
Oh, well, yeah, nice.
Psychonauts 2
just looked weird.
So
I didn't play the first
interestingly,
one.
because that's a bit of a cult favourite, isn't it? Psychonauts.
Yeah.
But it was the beginning of that one where I got the distinct impression the world console exclusive that it kept putting up just meant timed exclusive.
Yes.
So it's great that it's on the Game Pass, and it's great that it's coming to the Series X, but actually, they're going to be available on your other consoles of choice. Stadia, Switch and PS5 at some point.
It's Double Fine, though, isn't it? So Microsoft own them.
Yeah, but they're not limiting their income by restricting them to the console, are they? They're starting to spread out. I think they've already mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yes.
DLC for the Outer Worlds. That's
great. That's what you want in the Series X promotion, isn't it? And Grounded, which is actually out now on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Which looks great.
I did the beta for that. Yeah.
I'm not who cares about games that I can already play on DLC for? You're supposed to be trying to sell me a console here. It's like going to buy a car and they're showing you around different ones or telling you about your car. No, mate, I've just driven it for 10 years. I want a new one.
Yeah, but we'll make it shinier.
What about this lovely pedal bike?
What about Watch Dogs? What did they show you from that then?
There was just a slightly different trailer. But at the time, because it was fairly early on, so about towards the end of the Halo bit, if you was watching it live, the audio sync went mental. Went completely out of sync.
Did it?
So I ended up having to quit in and out while that was on, because it's like, well, I've already seen quite a lot from Legion, so not who cares, but, I'm not really going to miss much unless they're just going to spoil the whole game for me.
Well, is that just saying that Legion's going to be on Game Pass as well when it launches?
That is a good point, actually, because they did say everything in this what's it is, yeah.
So, and that's pretty damn good if it is on Game Pass when it launches.
Yeah.
That is a fair point, yeah.
Again, it's back to the whole showcase was more of an advert for Games Pass.
Do we feel their marketing strategy rather than perhaps promoting the benefits and the gloss of the new console is actually let's undermine Sony's sales by getting people to stay in this ecosystem through Game Pass for a bit longer?
Possibly,
but for me, and they're not selling the new console, so they're going to lose that chunk of money. Because let's be fair, they're going to be what, £400-500 ish.
Yeah,
probably more, 5-6. And as it stands, like I said, I'm leaning more towards the PS5. So they're going to lose money off me by not buying a Series X because I don't need to. And
maybe this is the other ploy, though. Maybe this is the other ploy is that, they're going to lose money from you in terms of the console, but you're going to buy all their games on the next gen. Not
I don't need to buy them, do I?
Yeah, but you do if you want to play them on the PS5.
Well, no, but I'd still keep my Game Pass and play them all on my PC.
Yeah.
It's just,
And actually, that it does feel like a good strategy. Actually, we've got a dedicated user base already. We've got people buying into this. Let's make it more attractive. Let's roll, because they're rolling. Is it gold into it as well?
Yes, which they have done anyway.
Yeah. So because there isn't, and have they already stopped you being able to buy gold subscriptions on their own? Did I read that the other week?
They've definitely stopped you doing it for a year. So you can only do it monthly or every 3 months, not quarterly.
Right. So they're going to phase that out. So it's all going to be in the past. So you're going to have a scenario where you've got plenty of people subscribing to it. I just can't help but think, are you not kicking yourself because you're not going to sell the consoles?
Well, yeah,
that's for a little bit
thinking.
longer, and you're not going to get the install base because, quite frankly, like I say, your scenario, one of the, fair to say, hardcore, you've got the capability on your PC to do the Series X stuff, but you've also got the capability on your Xbox to play it anyway for free without any additional outlay. So where's the enticement to upgrade? Because
I've got the One X anyway. And I was fortunate enough to get a Scorpio edition as well. Not that it makes any difference, it just looks a bit different. But it's, I was dedicated enough to get that. And I do prefer the ecosystem of the Xbox and the controller and different things.
Yeah.
But at the minute, there's nothing that's saying to me, buy our console because this is going to run better. Now, I know I've upgraded my PC and we've had a conversation about this because I think it was Andy that just said, well, now you've upgraded your PC so much, you're not getting a Series X. And until this showcase, it was like, well, no, I'll still get one.
Don't be
because
silly. Yeah.
then I'll still be in the front room, with my wife and that, and I can play the games and whatnot. But, well, I may as well just buy them on PC.
Just get a TV with G-Sync and move the computer.
Well, no, not move the computer. No, she can sit up here.
I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe it is just maybe it's a financial thing. Maybe they want to lock people in paying $10.99 a month for 5 years. Maybe that is a better value proposition for them because they don't need to manufacture the hardware then. I don't know. I don't get it.
But then why bother saying that we're creating a new console? They should have just said, right, we're a bit behind. We're not behind. They could have used the COVID-19 excuse and just said, we'll release the new console later. But for now, we're concentrating on what we've currently got, boosting the Game Pass, and go from there.
I don't know. Maybe buying so many studios and having the smart delivery saves them development costs in terms of porting and stuff. I guess we don't know where they're saving money, but Game Pass is a phenomenal proposition.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's worth shouting about. But it just felt like a swing and a miss.
Yeah, because do you know if the games were better, I would be like, there'd be like loads of people doing the meme, like take my money.
Mm-hmm.
And that because they're all on Game Pass, you don't have to, like we've discussed in previous episodes, the Game Pass is an extremely profitable and good idea, especially if all their first party games are on it. So if everything that they showed at this is on it, which it is, but the games were better, then you'd go, well, I'll buy it because I'll save money, because if at launch I'm getting 6 games, 2 or 3 of which I'm not that bothered about, but I get 6 games, launch exclusive games on day one, albeit you've got to download it for free, you've already saved yourself a few £100 there.
There is a question around that, because you just said it's profitable, but the question actually now, if you start putting all of that stuff on it, is it
Apparently
worth doing?
It is.
It is right now, but if you're not enticing people over anyway,
but then you've got all your PC players as well, though.
Is it bringing in enough? Because there was something mentioned last week, and I forget what the sales numbers were on The Last of Us Part 2. But there was a comparison made that basically said, well, this is where Microsoft will lose out in the sales full price are so ridiculous that if you're doing stuff on a Game Pass at that massive discount, how many games a month are you getting for 11 quid? It's not the same profit margin.
I guess the difference is, though, that you wouldn't sell all of those copies that go on that people download from Game Pass. It's like gym membership. If everybody who was a member of the gym turned up at once, there'd be a queue from Kirkstall to the Leeds city centre. But it doesn't happen because they rely on people paying their money and not turning up. And I guess it's a bit like that. You put the value proposition right, where people want to say, do you know what? I'm interested in some of the games on here. I will happily fork out £10 a month.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have necessarily bought a 50, 60 quid game.
No. And then they might buy the season pass for 20 quid or some DLC.
Or decide eventually when something comes off Game Pass, actually I want to finish this, or I've really enjoyed it, and they'll buy it then.
But if you think something like Halo, would you not want to, as the platform holder, sell that at full price with your new console, knowing that that's one of your system sellers? And the same with Forza.
But someone's only got to be a member for 5 months to have made that up. If somebody buys Game Pass for Halo and they're too lazy to cancel their membership, or there's other stuff on there that keeps them on for 5 months, then you've made your money anyway.
But what if
it's more of a slow burner, isn't it?
What if you buy it for Halo and just have it for a month because you finish it?
Well, yeah, there is that. There will be those people. What the percentage of that is, I don't know. I mean, it appears to be working.
I don't know what the churn is, but
yeah.
But it's back to that development recovery piece. if you sell a game and it's got to do the good numbers. Obviously, it can't just be mediocre to really recoup your costs. But there's a higher profit margin. There's more of an incentive to put cost into your development. And actually, is there a risk that over time it almost plateaus and you don't get the same quality from your Games Pass because it's a jack of all trades to meet everybody? That was one thing I did take away from the showcase. There was a really good variety. There was a lot of different types of game on offer, which I think is a slightly different step for Microsoft from previous ones.
I think it was a couple of years ago, there was a quote from Phil Spencer, and he said something like, there's two things that really surprise me about Game Pass. And the first one is that people who have Game Pass play a lot more games than anyone else. And he was saying they play like 4 or 5 more games. But he also said they bought more games. And I don't know whether that is just they're looking at the data of people who subscribe to Game Pass and they've looked at their history before and after, or whether it is just they're more invested gamers. But it did seem to precipitate more sales and more engagement.
Well, sales from a digital platform. You don't know what people do out because they don't know.
That's money they get a direct cut from there, isn't it?
It is. But is it enough to sustain them if people get reliant on it?
Yeah.
Because you get a discount when a game comes off, you get a discount, don't you? If you purchase it.
I can't remember. I know you get a discount, I think, on DLC. You might get some form of discount. Yeah, I know you do with EA Access. You get like 10% or something. But I'm not sure. But I don't know, it's just weird. It really is weird. But also at the end of it, and from various interviews with people afterwards, apparently they've kept stuff in their back pocket. And the next event, which I presume is in September, it's going to be a big one. And they're going to announce loads of other stuff. It just seems weird.
It just seems like, I don't know, by the time you get to September, our people have going to made up their mind, because we've got another PlayStation event in August, didn't we?
Rumoured. I don't think it's been 100% confirmed.
I think that's the same for the Xbox as well. Is whether they're waiting for one or the other to pull the trigger first.
Yeah.
I said this to you guys. If I was Sony marketing, I'd have stuck my pre-orders out last Friday.
Yeah,
I'd have done it. Because you genuinely would have had people pre-order because they were so disgruntled. Now, whether they'd stuck with the pre-order through all of it, I don't know, but I'd have done it.
It's dragging me that way. And that's coming from a loyal Xbox fan that, like I say, I prefer the ecosystem. I've got PS4, Xbox One, and Switch and different things, and, gaming PC. And I do like playing on my Xbox. Yeah. But PS5 is my gauge, which was at let's say 100%, and I'd get a PS5 later 2021, something like that. At the minute, my gauge is starting to go the other way, and unless Xbox do something in the next stream, I'll be getting a PS5.
That's kind of like, because I have an Xbox here and a PS4 both sat on my desk, and I was very undecided. I've got back into playing a lot more of my Xbox recently, and Game Pass is a massive factor in that. And there was part of me thinking, I'm kind of undecided, and is it going to sway it? Because, like I said, Game Pass is a fantastic value proposition. If on next gen hardware, if you're already getting the latest and the greatest through smart delivery, it's a really good proposition. But having watched these, it's not driven the nail into the coffin. Do you know what I mean? It's if anything, it's pulling the lid off. They should
have had a better version of Halo for people to go, wow, that's what a next gen first person shooter is going to look like.
That teaser for Halo with the ring in the you remember did more for my enthusiasm for that game than the actual footage I've seen from this.
Yeah, it looked very flat, and it looked like, it's just another Halo game.
Yeah.
Good one. It would have been nice to see, not necessarily released this year with the console, but Fable, it'd have been nice to see more than just a intro video. Yes, it shows that there's still got the Fable humour, but what to do? I'm not seeing a character running around. Forza should be there front and centre and showing you like the new tire model, or you can do this in the pits, and we're embracing esports more, and we're doing blah, 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 blah. No, it was just it looked like they'd put A to B repeat on of people going down the corkscrew, And then other games. I mean, that one that you mentioned, Matt.
Medium.
It looked great, but there's no date that I'm aware of for that.
I said this in the last one. It comes down to games. It always does. They're games consoles. Yeah. You can be bought into the ecosystem. You can have your loyalties. If you see games that you want to play, that's the one you're going to go for. And what this showcase didn't do is give people enough games that they really wanted to get their hands on immediately. No. There was lots of, we're going to get it. We're going to get it for free, so we'll wait. And, if it's not great, we're not actually going to worry about it because we've not spent 50 quid on it. And I think that tempers the excitement quite a lot. Now, in interest of balance, vast majority of the PlayStation games we saw are not here till 2021, some of them potentially 2022. So it's not like it's a timing issue, but there was a more excitable proposition, even if it's just in the way it was presented, that we saw gameplay. And I think your biggest criticism, Ali, after the last one was there was no gameplay, and they did exactly the same again, with virtually no gameplay for most of the games.
Yeah, 10 minutes of Halo.
Yeah.
Great. And some heads playing Tetris that I couldn't...
It felt a bit Ubisoft, that moment. When Ubisoft... do you know what I mean?
Didn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, anyway. If you've ever seen, was it was it the Division 2? Was that or was it the Division? That really awful fake
Division
co-op
2,
gameplay.
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I think they did it for both, to be fair. They do it for quite a few.
It's just
Shovel had done it for Rainbow Six.
In twee, wasn't it? It was awful. Anyway. Ali, genuine question now. I'm not taking the it will sound chronically like I am, but I'm not. If you weren't a massive Forza fan, would you have felt better about this? Was the experience slightly jaded by finding out that Forza Motorsport was in early development?
Yes and no. So the Forza bit, that was my excitement was kind of at a certain level, and it was like Halo, a bit old school, and it blips. Yeah, okay. And then it went down when I saw the pixel games and stuff. But my excitement was always like they had it in the pocket, waiting for something to do with Forza. And then they did that, and then that's when I lost it. But if you take Forza out of it, if they said, look, you're not going to get it for ages anyway, and I already knew that pre the showing, I would have still been very like I was the first Xbox showing, because Halo didn't blow me away. And some of the videos that we saw, the games look great. But again, you've not shown me gameplay. You're not showing me people playing it or what it looks like in the game. Whereas PS5, we actually got, whether it was pre-rendered or not, gameplay footage of some variation, Ratchet and Clank, etc. And even we were like, wow, that looks great. Even GT7, is it going to be? 7?
Yeah.
Actually had gameplay footage.
Yeah.
And that was, like Matt said, that's what we were lacking, is seeing the game running. Albeit it could be, they can fake it. You want
that glimpse of what you're going to see on your 4K TV at home, don't you? That's what you want.
Yeah.
We needed to show what the Xbox does with ray tracing. And for part of the PlayStation 5 footage was, this is how it's going to look. This is what you're actually buying a console for your games to look like. Yes, they probably could play on the PlayStation 4, probably more so on the Pro, but this is what it looks like on the PS5, whereas we didn't get that with this.
You wanted razzmatazz.
Yeah, I wanted something to blow my socks off. Like, when you see a trailer for a film and you're like, wow, I need to go and see that, and looking at the 4K and the colours.
I suppose it's a bit like if you went to the cinema and one of the trailers was, instead of being about like a big epic movie trailer, it was about like, coming later to DVD and Blu-ray.
Yeah. Or better still, when you buy
okay.
they've taken it off, I think, most of them these days, but when you used to buy a Blu-ray and then, is it Naughty Nigel or something, thanks you for buying this and not copyrighting it. Yeah, clearly, I've bought the disc.
You're targeting the wrong audience here.
Yeah.
It was Knockoff Nigel, wasn't it? Don't be a knockoff Nigel.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
It was, you know what, actually, it just made me think, it was very corporate. It was like it was a corporate presentation presenting to the people who are not actually interested in the games, just interested in the sales numbers.
Which explains why it was done in the middle of the daytime.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's be fair, this is what happened at the start of the Xbox One. They went down the wrong avenue because they were all about an entertainment system and whatnot. And there was a pre-presentation which was utter shit, and I don't like whatever his name is. The guy that does the Game Awards, Jeff, whatever his name is.
I'd call him Jeff Keithley.
Yeah.
Because that was spelled, but I presume he's Keeley because he's American.
Yeah. And that was just rubbish. They didn't even have Xbox fans on it.
That's a Yorkshire joke for you. Very niche audience there.
They had no Xbox fans on it as such. They were all just like, whatever. They were all on about, use it as an entertainment system. I use it as this, I use it as that. It's like, well, no, but you should be saying you use it for games, get people hyped up before the show. Yeah. But by the by, this is what happened with the Xbox One. And the guy ended up leaving the studio because he screwed up the launch of a console. Is the same going to happen to Phil if they don't pull their finger out? I like Phil, and he's done a lot for the Xbox to bring it back for the players. Well, that's the PlayStation for the players, but bringing the games and bringing the studios.
Am I right in thinking, though, that the guy who screwed up the Xbox One launch, was he the guy who went on to do Stadia?
No, wasn't that someone else?
I don't know, but if it was, he ain't got a good track record now, has he?
No. But like I say, Phil's done a lot for the Xbox, and he's been out to Japan, and he's getting all these links, and he's buying all these studios. And it's like, Phil, we've given you the opportunity. Yes, the Game Pass is great, but nobody's buying our console. Why? Well, because they don't need to. Good one. Get out.
That's my biggest fear for this. And they will sell, and you'll get good games, and it will come into 2-3 years' time. We're sat here going, yeah, they're both on a par, because they always are.
Yeah.
But it really does destroy people's excitement for it. To a degree, I'm sat here thinking, well, at least it means there won't really be much of a console war. Though, in fairness, both companies have said, this is no longer console wars. That's not what we're interested in. But it doesn't stop the fans from thinking that.
Well, no, because we like a bit of banter and...
Yeah, there's always going to be a bit of that. But
yeah,
it beggars belief sometimes what decisions are being made on... It's like you've already said, they're not doing it for the fans. It doesn't feel like that. And that's the bit that everybody finds hard to get on top of.
We joke about our fanboyism, but what's good for one is good for everyone, do you know? And it helps the industry to develop and get stronger and improve. And yes, Phil Harrison was in charge of Xbox One and then went on to Stadia.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah. So he's got a good track record.
Okay.
Anyway. I just feel... Yeah, I feel a bit deflated.
Yeah.
By what I saw, if I'm honest. I wanted it to be better and not in a kind of... I think it's really easy to be tarred with the fanboy brush or with the next gen brush, but it just felt like it needed a bit more
oomph.
Anything.
Yeah.
Polish, I think is the...
Yeah, that's a good bit. But on paper, the Series X has got the slight edge on power.
But you just
PS5.
Wouldn't believe it from what you're seeing, would you?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Then at the same time, is power the defining factor? Look at the Switch, which has got nothing on either of its bigger console rivals. Yet it overtook the Xbox pretty rapidly and has taken a healthy chunk out of PlayStation's lead because it's all about the games.
Yeah, I mean, it's like buying your gran or whatever, a Ferrari, just to tutor to the shops doing 30 mile an hour if you're lucky. And it's like, well, let's just go for the PS5 and at least we can put a foot down and see what it can do a little bit with the consoles or with the games even.
It'll get me to the speed limit and it'll be fun. But I don't need to worry about all the extra stuff.
The Series X, it's probably going at, I don't know, it's got 1,000 horsepower in it but we're just running these
I'll get
games
there
from
faster,
the last
but
gen
I'll
on
wrap it
it.
around a tree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you've lost me in this metaphor, if I'm honest, because both my grands are dead.
Well,
so mine.
Yeah, but it's like, what's the point in having a really powerful console and not doing anything with it and not showcasing what it's up to?
It's not like the difference between a Ferrari and a Fiat Panda, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's like a Ferrari and a slightly less Ferrari, isn't it?
I think I'm just going to cut
what's
this
the point
entire
in having a
analogy because
Ferrari?
it's not working. We're
Anyway.
trying to explain it to each other. It's not working. It's coming out.
Okay. Look, the difference is between like you've got a Ferrari that's a little bit quicker, but looks like a fucking Skoda.
Yeah, but like for example,
Because that's it. Like it's just there's no polish. It doesn't look like nobody really, other than fanboy. And I don't want to do you a disservice because I don't think this is where you're coming from. But other than fanboys, nobody is going to look at this and go, well, on paper, the Xbox One will perform better. When you look at the two showcases that we've had, nobody is going to look at that and go, yeah, I think the Xbox One looks better. Why do they do it?
I don't know. If you came around my house now and said, right, show us your new graphics card, I would put on the games that have got I've got the ray tracing on it. Yeah, or even Quake 2. Like
the OpenGL, the
RTX stuff. Yeah. And you could turn it on and off, and I was like, this doesn't look that great. This is Quake 2 how I remember it. And then you turn it off, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it does look a lot better. But that's what I was expecting from the showcase, and I didn't get it because even the Forza trailer thing that they showed, it doesn't matter what you put it on because it's pre-rendered.
No,
it'll look the same on anything. It'll look the same on your 360 if you play the YouTube app on it to an extent, if it does it in 1080p or whatever. But it just doesn't wow you, does it? That's the thing. It's just lacking the wowness.
Yeah,
I'm unwowed.
I'm decidedly wow free.
Yeah, although I am back playing World of Warcraft, but that's different.
I just to follow on, you two are unwowed or wowless. To a degree, to know that they'd done a good job, I would like to have watched that and felt a little twinge of jealousy that there'd be something that I probably wasn't going to play because I wasn't going to buy into it, and I definitely didn't feel that. Apart from the Medium, that's the only one, and I've said it a few times now, that's the only one I was thinking, I'm going to have to wait about 6 months before I can play that one. But we've all learned to wait over the last few generations, haven't we, with console exclusives, so we know it'll come eventually. But yeah, slightly disappointing that they didn't seem to learn from the last one and from what people wanted to see.
I'm hoping that in August, September, whenever the next thing is, there's going to be something there that will be like, right, okay, sorry we didn't blow you away in the last one. This is what's actually coming at the launch.
Yeah.
And probably reveal the price and, what you can get. But I'm not holding much hope for that, because why would you hold it for what will be the third presentation? You wouldn't.
I just get the feeling at this point that they just seem slightly off the mark, and we're going to get to September, and they're going to be like, here's what you've really been waiting for. Outlook integration into the Xbox Series X. Now it runs Teams, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm just, I'm scared.
You know that's actually going to be a function, isn't it? Teams is going to be in the Series X.
Yeah, I mean that might be interesting. At least,
it could be quite useful.
I could get some work done while I'm playing games.
Yeah.
And are you playing Halo? What?
No, where's it say that?
Of course not.
Yeah. Just baffled.
Master Chief has joined the meeting.
Right. So, yeah, that's it. It's slightly disappointed and a bit meh. We'll have to see what they manage to do over the next couple of months.
Are we still talking about the Xbox showcase, or are we talking about the episode?
Both, probably. I'm tempted to say our episode is probably slightly more exciting than the Xbox showcase, though. There was more passion there, definitely.
Certainly be more polished.
Yeah, there was, yeah. I'll be quiet.
Right. So, if you watched the showcase, let us know what you thought about it over on Twitter, at Codec Moments. Tell Ali directly, at Cornwolf. Or, head to Discord and join in a big long chat about gaming and general stuff and cables. Yes,
so cool.
It is a thing. Go and have a look. The link is in our Twitter bio because it's lots of little letters that I can't remember to shout out now, but we're Codec Moments on Discord. I've been Matt Holt.
I still am Andy Brown.
Yeah, and I'm still angry.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye. We didn't even get an inner visual. That's how bad it was.